Today we are learning KC5C notes, day 1. Okay, and the thing that we have to remember is that KC6 is going to be talking about systems of inequalities. So as you can see, target 5C, it says determine how the solutions of a system of inequalities can be interpreted and represented graphically. So we're going to have to graph them, okay? And systems of equations, the word systems means that we're talking about inequalities. Again, inequalities are any of the ones that have the less than or greater than, or equal to, or greater than or equal to symbol. System of equation means that we are talking about more than one inequality. So we talked about one, but now we're talking about more than one. Okay, so that's why it's called systems of inequality. All right, before we get started, I am giving you the 7 steps on how to solve KC5C number 1 and 2. Okay, so it says pick a line, find the y-intercept on the line you pick, select the equation on all the options, draw a box around it, okay, focus on the inequality sign, and eliminate. Look at the shaded section, determine if it's shaded top or bottom. Choose the correct inequality, and then select the correct answer. All right, so you guys could take a screenshot of this, a picture of this. You guys could write it on your notes, however you want. Okay, so let's get started. It says, which of the following systems of inequalities represents the graph? Again, systems means more than 2 inequalities, and obviously you can see that because we have 2 lines. Okay, the first one, it said pick a line, right? It doesn't matter which one you want to choose, okay? For this one, I'm just gonna choose the dash one, okay? So I'm gonna do the dash one. The dash one, the second step said to get your y-intercept, okay? So I picked this one, the dash one. And the y-intercept of this is right here, and it's at 4. It says positive 4, right? That's gonna be my y-intercept. The other step said to make a box around all the options that had that y-intercept. So for instance, option A has this option, right? And we're looking at 4, so that has to be my equation, my inequality, sorry. Okay, so I'm drawing a box to it. This next step said to focus on the inequality symbol. Right away, you can eliminate option A. Why? Because they have the equal sign, and equal sign is only used for equations. We're talking about inequality, so not option A. Okay, the next one. We're talking about a dash line, so that means that the only symbol that we're talking about is the greater than or less than symbol. So I'm going to eliminate all the options that do not have those 2 options. For option B, for instance, I have the greater than or equal to. You see that little line on the bottom? That means it's equal to, and I'm not using that sign. So this is not an option. Option C, it does have that sign that I'm looking at. See this? It's the signs that we both have, so it was either or, right? So that's the one I'm gonna keep. Okay, option D, it has the less than or equal to, so this is not an option. Next, E has the same sign that we're looking for. So these 2 have the 2 signs that I'm looking for. So those 2 options could be my answer. I need to now look at my other step. I need to see how they're shading. Are they shading up or down? And again, if you're struggling with the up and down, I told you to draw arrows starting from the y-intercept, okay? And you can see that from this point, everything up, so everything up is gonna be the same thing for the whole line. The whole line has arrows that go up, arrows that go down, okay? Based on my arrows, my shaded part that they gave me, which is this purple shaded part, that's the solution. That means that that's where my answer has to be. So if my answer has to be there, that means that from this whole line, they had to shade down because that's part of my solution, right? Okay, so that means that they shade down, so my symbol has to be less than, right? So which one has that option? Option C. So C is my answer, okay? Again, it doesn't matter which line you pick. You can pick whatever you want, okay? So try the next one. All right, next. It says, which of the following order pairs are a solution to the system of inequality? So a solution, the solution to points is when they're inside the shaded area. So that's my first option, right? Or is on the solid line. If it's on the dotted dash line, the dash or dotted, however you want to call it, that's not going to have a solution. It's only when it's inside the shaded area or in a solid line. So all you have to do is plug in my points, all right? Plug in my points. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to plug in my point 1 and -2, and we should know that any coordinate point is going to be x and y. So the first one is 1 and -2. So that means it's this point right here. This is point A. Point B is -6 and 2. -6 and 2. That's right here. This is point B. All right. Point C is at 3 and -1. 3 and -1 is right here. That's point C. Point D is at -5 and -6. So -5, -6. This is point D. And E, -2 and -2, that's right here. This is E. All right, just on my points and based on the rules, I know my points have to be inside the shaded or in the solid line. So far, C is not near the shaded area or solid line. A is on a dash line, so it cannot be a solution. B is not next to a shaded or area or my solid line, so I eliminate A, B, C. So those three options are out of the way. They're not a solution. All right, now we have two of our answers, right? We have D, which is inside, and option E, that's on my solid line. Because I have those 2 points, my answer is always going to be the one shaded inside the area. This is why I put the number 1. This is your number 1 choice, okay? So my answer for this one is going to be D, just because it's on the shaded area. All right, let's say that I didn't have point B, right? I only had point E. Since I don't have my first option, which is inside that shaded area, I would have gone to my second step, which is on the solid line, and my answer would have been E. But because D was inside, that's why D had to be my very first option. So that was going to be the shaded part area first. If you don't have anything, then you're going to go to step 2, which is going to be on the solid line. Hopefully this makes sense, okay? Just remember, shaded area or solid line, okay? So try the next one. All right, now we're going to go to shading, okay? For shading, these are the 8 rules or 8 steps that you can follow. Again, you can write them on your notes, you can screenshot it, you can take a picture, whatever you need to make this easier for you, okay? So the steps to this problem is on the other slide before this. However, this one is not on your notes, but they are on your homework assignment, they are in your practice assignments. So please take those out for this section. This is where we are going to start shading, okay? So it doesn't matter which line you start with. You have to match the inequality with the line, okay? So we have 2 lines. One thing that I want to go over is that, remember when we had 1 line? All right, so this is going to be my graph, right? This is my x and this is my y. All right, and if I had 1 line, I told you you're either going to shade up or down, right? Because you have up and down, right? And you only have two sides. I have the top side and the bottom side. So I always make two options for me, okay? So one line makes two options, okay? So when we have two lines, so if I have this line and then I have this one, how many options do I create? And you should know that you have this side right here. This is one, this is two, and you are not counting the Y line. That's part of your graph. Okay, this is three and this is four. So we are always creating four options, four sides. Okay, people are getting confused with the lines of the y-axis and the x-axis. They're different. Look, this is what's happening. Okay, you'll have these two lines connecting to each other, right? And it creates four spaces. You see that? Four spaces. It has nothing to do with my y or the x-axis. Okay, so don't get confused. Okay, this is the same lines that are on my graph. Okay, that's it. That's the difference. That these lines are on a graph, and that's why we have the y and I have the x. So don't get confused. Okay, that's why I told you guys use color pencils. Every time you have a line, trace it with a color. Okay, so with that being said, I should know that I have four sections right now, and they tell you they have section A, B, C, and D, okay? Don't try to get confused with that. Pretend like those letters are not there. They're just telling you that those are four sections or four options, all right? So the first one, doesn't matter which one you start with. I want to start with this one, okay? You always start with a y-intercept. This one has a y-intercept of -4. So the line that starts at -4, which is this one. This line is going to be my blue line. I'm going to color blue, and I'm going to label it. That's my inequality, okay? Common sense. Once you find out one, you know the other one because you only have two lines. This has to be my green line. All right. All you have to do now is look at the symbols to see if I'm going to go up or down, okay? And this is the part where people are getting confused. So the first thing I want you to do is do arrow. Based on the y-intercept, I have this point. I'm going to draw an up arrow and a down arrow. Throughout the whole line, I still have points. I can see that I have this point, I can see that I have this point, and there's another point right here. I'm going to do the same thing. This one goes down, this one goes up. This one goes up, this one goes down. That means that throughout the whole line has down arrows, the whole line has up arrows, okay? Now that I know which sides are going down, which sides are going up, I could go back to my symbol. My symbol is telling me that y is less than or equal to. Because it's less, I'm going to have to shade down. But remember, when I'm shading down, this is going to become my A. So every section that has an arrow going down, I'm going to draw an A. However, look at this side. This side has my C and D. Those are the two sections that are going down. So I'm going to label this section as A and this section as A. Right? Because the line in blue and the line in green make those two spaces going down. Okay? It was like if we were shading. Remember? We're not shading though. We're just writing the letters. All right, next, you look at the symbol for the next one, and this is going to be my B. You can use whatever letter you want, okay? It doesn't have to be A or B. Okay, the next one says Y is greater than or equal to. So it's greater, so that means it's going up. That means from my y-intercept of the green one, I'm going an up arrow and a down arrow. Every point on the line is going up and down. This one is going up and down. This one right here is going up and down. Okay, so all the side that is going up, because we're going up because it's greater, is A and D. So I'm creating B here and B here. Which region is the one that has the two letters? And that is region D. So here's my answer. This is my answer. Your answer is always going to be where they have both letters, okay? Common sense, we're talking about two lines, it has to have both letters. If we're talking about three lines, it has to have three letters, okay? So hopefully this makes sense. So can we try one of the practices or from the homework if you have it with you? And if you don't, you can always just come to me in the morning and you could get a practice sheet from me. All right, moving on to KC5C notes day 2. Same thing, we're talking about systems of inequalities, but now we're talking about 3 systems of inequalities. We have this one, and this one, right? This one, they're asking you use the graph to determine if this point, is a solution on the following systems of inequalities. So you gotta remember, how do I know if a point is a solution? When it's inside the shaded part or on a solid line, right? Well, how can I figure this out if I don't have any of the lines and I don't have it shaded? So that's the first thing we have to do. We have to trace the lines, then do the shading, okay? So the first thing I want you to do, and again, use different colored pencils. It will just make so much sense, okay? So the first one, look at the symbol that they're giving you, okay? The first one has the letter X. That means that we are focusing on the numbers on the x-axis, which is my left and right line. Wherever you see the number 1 of x, which is right here, you have to create a line that passes through 1, okay? A lot of you guys are doing this line right here. It's crossing through 1, yes, but look at your line. It's crossing through -6, -5, -4, 2, 3, 4. They're crossing through all the numbers on the x-axis. And I only want the line that crosses through the x of 1, which is this one right here. Okay? And my line has to be solid because of my symbol. Remember that? All right, next. Now they're talking about the y-axis. Okay, so now we're talking about the numbers on this y. Okay, that's my line of the graph. So y of -2, where's -2? Well, -2 is over here, and it has to pass through it. That means that we have to make a line that goes through -2. And again, my symbol is greater than, so that means that we're not going to have a solid line, we're going to have a dashed line. Okay, your dashed line always start from the outside of the graph. Why? Because it will help me identify which one is a dashed one and which one is a solid. Especially if you're not using colored pencils, I'm not going to be able to see your dashes on this graph. So you need to start from the outside. Okay, the next one. All we have to do is start with the y-intercept, right? Because this one tells us that we have a y-intercept and a slope. So we start at at +3. So this is a starting point. And your slope, remember your slope is always going to be rise over run. That's the other way we could do it, right? And rise means up and down. Run means left and right. So the number on top is always telling you if you're going to move up or down. And the number on the bottom of the fraction is going to tell you you're going to go left or right. Whenever we have a negative sign, that negative stays with the number on top, the bottom stays positive. Okay, so we have -1, which means that we're going down 1. Okay, so I'm going down 1 and over 3. 1, 2, 3. So this is my point right here. And you do it again, okay? Or down 1 over 3. Okay? And you just connect the points. And this line had to be solid because of my symbol. It's less than or greater than. Okay, and again, if you're struggling with the symbols, I told you, I gave you that little piece of paper where I told you can use for your quizzes and tests. That should be able to help you. And if you lost it, I don't know what else to do to help you. Okay, you need to come and see me if you're struggling with the symbols. Okay, so next. Now we have to do our shading, okay? Let's go back to the first inequality, okay? This is gonna be my A. Every time I shade, instead of shading, I'm gonna write A. From X, you pay attention to the symbol, right? So the symbol is telling me it's less than or greater to, right? So X, which is the green line, and this is why I use color pencils, because then I can see which line I'm talking about. From this line, this is on the x-axis. The numbers on the x move left and right. That means that I'm shading either left or right. When it's less, I'm shading to the negative number, sorry. When it's greater, I'm shading to the positive. So because my sign told me it's less, I have to shade to the left side. With the left side, you need to see that based on the blue, the light blue, and the green line, we created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. On the left side, we only have 3. So on the left side, I'm gonna write A, and A in all of the spaces on the left side. So that's my first one. The next one, I'm gonna write B for this one. And you need to label it so I can see which one is your A, which one is your B, okay? The next one, we're gonna label B. So based on this dash line, am I gonna draw up? I'm gonna draw up or down. Well, my symbol tells me that Y is greater, so that means it has to go up. If I go up, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. All of those 4 spaces, I'm gonna write B. Again, we're not shading, we're just writing the letters, right? Okay, and the last one, we're gonna have this one be C. And again, if you're still struggling with the up and down, draw the arrows. Remember, in each point, okay, it's gonna be up and down. And this line continues over here. So make another point and draw the arrows if that helps. Okay, from this one, Y is less than or equal to, so that means we're shading down. Through the whole side of the line, we need to shade down. If we go down, we have how many sections? I have this one, this one, this one, and this one. So it's 4. And all those 4 spaces, I'm gonna write C. All right, where is my solution? You should see that the solution is wherever we have those 3 letters. So it's all this space right here. This is my answer. This space right here, it's all of it. That means that my solution has to be inside of it. Once you know where is the shading part, you need to plug in your point. The point they gave you, because remember, we're trying to figure out if this point is a solution. So all I have to do is plug in my points. So -3 and -2, -3 and -2 is right here, and this point right here. Okay, is that point a solution, yes or no? Okay, and notice where's that point? That point is on that dash line. And so, because it's on the dash line, that has no solution. Why? I just said it. Because it's on the dash line. So I had to shade, I had to plug in the lines first, then shade, then answer my question. Okay, so there's 3 steps that you have to do to this problem. Make sure you're labeling everything right. Make sure you're drawing your lines right. Those who have to be solid and those that have to be dotted. So please make sure you're paying attention to the symbols. Again, if you're struggling, you need to come see me. Okay, try the next one. All right, the error analysis are my favorite one, okay? All you have to do is tell me what was a mistake. And again, seems like we're not getting this question. It is called an error analysis for a reason, okay? There is a mistake, so stop telling me that there's no mistakes, okay? That's your number 1 problem and mistake that everybody does a lot, okay? You cannot tell me that there's no mistake. There was no reason. Then there would be no reason for me to put this question. Obviously, there's a mistake. All right, so the first thing again, this is the solution that did this. So this is the solution. We need to figure out if this solution is right or wrong, okay? The first thing is that, well, you need to do the same thing that you did on the other problems. We have to make our lines, okay? I'm going to do the first one. So let's do the first one. It starts at y of 2. So y of 2 is right here. And it's going to be dash. So that's my dash line, okay? So we have that one. The next one, we have x of 3. So it's going through the axis of positive 3 right here. And it's going to be solid. So there's my line. The next one, this one, it starts at 1. Low. What do you notice about this one? Obviously, we notice that it has a fraction with the x. So that means that this has to be my slope, right? Do I have a y-intercept? I do not. So if you don't have a y-intercept, you start at 0, okay? From 0, all you have to do is the slope. It has -2 and then positive 3. So that means I'm going down 2 over 3. So down 2 over 3. This is 1 point. Down 2 over 3. All right. All you have to do now is connect the lines, right? And then all right, and the mistake I did here is I didn't look at my symbol before I drew the line. My symbol says it's greater than, so that means that my line has to be dashed. So I have to make my little dashes. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm trying to erase this. I'm making dashes. Okay. So this line has dashes. All right. Now, what you're focusing on is the little triangle they give you. This little triangle is this triangle right here. Okay? Based on the line, the two ways to have this as an error analysis, if they drew the wrong line, so that's option 1, or option 2, shade it wrong. Okay? So those are your two options for this. And obviously, I'm going to check the lines first and then the shading. So for instance, this one, I noticed that the top line has to be dashed. Is my top line dashed? Yes. All right. The one on the side is solid. I do have a solid line. What's the difference now? That this line, they give it to me solid and I put it as dashed. So my mistake is the third line. This line is wrong. So they put a solid line and it is a dash line. So that's what you need to write. You need to write which of these three inequalities is wrong. So make a circle, make a square on it. I don't care. But you need to tell me which one is of those three options of inequality is wrong. Okay? And you need to tell me why. Is it because of the shading or because of the line? Obviously, once you figure out that it's the line, we don't have to do or worry about the shading. Okay? So I'm done with this problem. So if the lines were to be right, then I would have moved to the shading part, and we know how to do the shading part. Remember, in the shading part, I would have just focused on the part that doesn't have the 3 letters, because I'm talking about 3 lines now. So that's all we have to do for this one. Check if it's the wrong line or if it's shaded wrong. So can you try the next one?